Hello, pop girlies.
Abracadabra, abracadabra.
Welcome to the post Grammys Pop Girlies episode.
We'd like to welcome you. Yeah, so we
Well,
are we are recording this the day after the Grammy Awards, and how are we all feeling, everyone?
I think Maria's doing really horrible. I think she had a horrible night that she's not going to be able to get back from.
I woke up this morning and I was like, did I dream all of that? Is this too good to be true right now? And it
Yeah, we
is.
have to talk about the elephant in the room. That I mean, well, but we're gonna talk about that, I guess, in a
Yeah,
second.
should we
So
just,
Yeah.
Maria, should you just tell us your hot track or?
Well, wait, did we want to talk about any thoughts or feelings or opinions about the Grammys or?
I was thinking about that because we kind of talked about maybe doing like an episode for it or whatever. And I'm kind of glad that we didn't because I feel like a lot of things that happened, I was like, not necessarily predictable, but like, yeah, like that is what happened. Like,
Yeah, everything good and great.
yeah.
yeah, I think it
Levi,
was a
how are
great
you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I think it was a great set of winners. I think every winner was very deserved. I am so happy that Beyonce finally got her album of the year.
Yes.
I mean, that's just such I think you have to be a rotted, like racist piece of shit not to be happy for her. I mean, is Cowboy Carter my favorite Beyonce album? No. Was it my favorite album of the year? No. But it's like objectively an insanely impressive piece of music that is not only an album that you can like listen to today, but it's also tied to music
Yeah.
history. Um,
Hmm.
it represents a lot. And then, she has been robbed so many times. So
Yeah.
it was so wonderful, especially for her to win for a genre that is historically so hostile to black musicians and just musicians of color in general. It was really, really cool. She became the first black artist ever to win Best Country Album. And then, she won Album of the Year with the country album. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy for her. I think the Kendrick wins were so cool. Um,
Hmm.
he is like the most successful hater in history.
So true.
He won as many Grammys for Not Like Us as Drake has in his entire career.
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, because Drake has 5 Grammys and Kendrick won 5 for Not Like Us.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the pop wins were great. I'm so happy that Charlie got her wins and that Chapel got that win and Sabrina got her wins. Yeah, I think and
Yeah.
Gaga got pop duo for Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the shutouts, I mean, I really wasn't expecting much for Taylor. I thought best music video was the best chance, and then that didn't happen. It got swept up in the sweep with the broom, the Kendrick Lamar broom. And I'm so fine about that. Like, I think first of all, it was an album so much for the fans that like it feels different to me. Like it's like okay, it kind of feels more like our secret, or like our thing. And then she had her moment last year. Like she
Yeah.
has the most album of the wins ever. Like I don't know. I think you'd have to be kind of greedy to be like, oh my God, she didn't win.
Well, and she
Um,
also went into the Grammys like very clearly having like the most
well, that's it.
successful album of the year. So it's like
I
she,
mean, she got what was having fun. Like she didn't need to
yeah,
prove anything. I don't think she needed it. I mean, she was the happiest person for every winner, which is one of my favorite things about her. No matter who is performing, no matter who wins, she stands and she doesn't stand just for like them going on the stage and then sits down. She stands the entire time. Like one of my favorite things about her is how enthusiastic she is in supporting
yeah,
her fellow artists at these award shows. So yeah, it was a great night, and I thought the performances for the most part were really awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So slay. I just
Yay.
I think it's so funny though. Like I think at a point there was definitely a point where Michael Gaga's fiance was getting way more screen time than she was. Because he got so much screen time. Like he
And
was constantly in frame.
every time he came on, a text in the Pop Girlies group chat, Michael,
Michael,
Michael, Michael's on.
But the thing
Michael.
is, the first time that happened, it was like a quarter of an inch of his forehead in the
Like it
corner of
was
the
a shot
shot.
of Taylor Swift
Yeah,
and
it was a shot
Michael
of
was
somebody
like
else
in it.
completely. And then if like Michael's eyelash was in the shot, Marie'd be like, "Oh my God, Michael, Michael."
He was just in so
Mother
much of it.
monster.
It made me
Well,
laugh.
yeah, he was in the audience. It would make sense that he was in a lot of the
I
shots.
it was just so fun. It just made me
Maria
chuckle.
was just living so hard.
I
Yeah,
was looking
Maria,
so hard.
the paw has never been up higher.
And this was Gaga at the Grammys for not an album cycle. Like this is just Gaga at the Grammys for a single. So next
Yeah.
year Maria's gonna be like freaking out.
I know.
I'm
I'm
filling out an
actually.
application to be a seat filler next year.
I'm kind of scared.
She
May
she fills out an application to be a seat filler and she gets like full on custom Gaga garb to walk into the Grammys wearing.
I get House of Gaga Couture.
No, you get the egg.
Yeah, she comes in the egg.
Yes. I come out in
Okay,
the
did you know
egg.
that she lived in the egg for 3 days?
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I just found that out the other day. That is so funny.
I mean, it's iconic. I'll never forget seeing that on the TV for the
That
first
I'll
was
never
time.
forget
so
that either.
funny.
I was in my kitchen and I just see an egg on the screen. It was gag of the century.
Yeah. So incredible.
Wow.
But yeah.
Okay,
But
Maria,
Nate,
what's your
delicious
hot
wing.
track? I wonder. You want to go
Sorry.
first or?
Well, sure. I'll go ahead and go first if I can be greedy and go first. But well, my hot track is Abracadabra by Gaga. It's been out for about a day. I'm living, I'm ascending, I'm on a different plane of existence. It's anything I could have ever wanted. Every single second is perfect. Music video, flawless, all of it. Because we all knew that it was going to come out, but they didn't say like how or when or the means of which we were going to receive it. So then it just played in the middle of a commercial break. And I saw the MasterCard
I
logo.
need I need to see the MasterCard invoice amount for how much that costs.
I mean, crazy, 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 crazy. So, I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, we had heard a little snippet of Abracadabra from when she played it in Paris when she was leaving the Olympics after she performed at the opening ceremony. And I mean, just like the 2 seconds that you could hear over all of the people that were screaming so loud was just like, wait, this is going to be like world collapse level. And it is. So, I just can't believe it. It's so good. And I think a lot of people are just obviously drawing the comparisons of like, whoa, this is so Fame Monster, or like the video's Alejandro, and it's kind of Judas, and it's kind of this, and it's kind of Aura, and it's kind of this and that. And I just think that it's just like such an awesome combination of all of these different parts of Gaga that we love, while
Yeah,
also being something completely new and different, without it just being like, oh, she's just doing like a cheap callback to like all the stuff
totally.
that she was successful for in the past. So, and it's just like,
I
yeah.
I hear things from like every album in that one
Yes.
song. Is
It's
that how
even got
you
like
feel?
Chromatica with that more kind of like
The House
house
of
piano.
yeah, the A Thousand Doves. I hear like in
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what part, but I'm like, oh, that sounds exactly like A Thousand Doves.
Yeah, it's kind of like at the end of the bridge a little bit before the last
Yes.
chorus. Like, yeah, it's just like such a cool combination. That's just why I love her so much, is like you can it's always like such a snapshot in time of like who she is as a person in that exact moment, and it comes through so vividly in the music and the art that she creates. And I'm just obviously so invested in her as a person, so it's just like so cool to see that this is where she's at in her life and this is what she's making. And she said so many times, like over the last year, that like what she's been making is like it's so for the fans and she can't wait to give it to the fans. And it's just like it's not fan service, but it's just so like deeply personal for I think the people that have been following her really close for years and years and years. So it's just so meaningful and it's perfect and I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a complete smash in every way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abracasmasha.
Abracalapse.
Smash-a-cadabra.
Smash-a-cadabra! That's good. Well, on
Yay!
that note, Drew, do you want to be our next hot tracker?
Sure. I was having a hard time deciding what mine was going to be, but something I've been listening to a lot this week is by my pop girly, Miss Katie. Uh I don't think I've referenced this on the podcast before, but in 2009 she did an MTV Unplugged, which I don't think that they do anymore.
Oh,
Um
unplugs are so cool though. I like the unplug.
yeah, hers was so good. But she has a cover of the song Hackensack by Fountains of Wayne, and I honestly think that it might be my favorite cover ever. Um so yeah, that's
And
gonna be my hot track.
Fountain of Wayne, they sing, Stacy's mom has got it going on.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
We discovered
Yeah,
that. We forgot who that was for a moment, but we
right.
remembered.
So yeah, excited for yeah, the
Well,
Lifetimes
yeah,
tour.
yeah, because I think since the last time we recorded, we have
Yeah, so
some
what was
lifetime
last
ticket
Monday?
purchases. What was
What
last Monday?
yeah, last Monday was the day that it was Lifetimes tour and Mayhem.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was the same day.
Yeah. Most legendary day in Pop Girlies history so far.
And Maria didn't have her phone, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
because Maria was in Seattle.
I was out of pocket for work, and literally I step into the office that I spent the whole weekend on that Monday morning, 2 minutes before LG7 gets announced. And I'm like, wait, I can't even freak out. Like I'm in front of so many people. It was just crazy, but got to got to soak it up
yeah.
later.
So Maria, what merch did you get?
All right. Slow your roll a little bit, Drew.
Okay,
So
okay,
far, so far I got the album. So I
okay,
did make a purchase.
cool.
Yep.
We'll do a
Still
merch
deciding,
check.
still deciding on the apparel, but because Gaga said that like when all of the sign stuff sold out, she was like, "Don't worry, there's going to be more stuff." So I'm like, I'm just kind of waiting. I don't want to like get something and then be like, "Oh wait, this other cool thing." So
Right, right, exactly.
I'm just trying to be fiscally responsible over here because there's going to be a ticket at some point in time that I'm going to want to splurge on. So
There you
thank
go.
you.
Oh, so
Levi.
I'm gonna scoot in now. Um, my hot track is I've been having a fun time listening to music. Yeah, ooh, that
I'm
was
so
astute.
glad.
Um,
Thank God you're not having a bad time listening to music.
I've just been listening to a lot of different things. I've been in a big Lord mood the last few days, and I almost picked Team as my hot track because Team is like one of the greatest songs ever written, and like I need a Lord album so bad. But I instead went with a big obsession that I was having this week, and an artist I'm kind of diving into her discography for the first time, and again, kind of being helped and guided by my Maria Spoon, and that artist is Bjork. I've been having so much fun going from the beginning of her discography. So I have spent a lot of time with her first two albums, and I'm going into her third album, Homogenic, and my hot track is going to be literally the greatest song of all time, Hyper Ballad from her second album, Post. It,
Yep.
let me paint the scene. Okay. Last Tuesday, I I work in the office at my job on Tuesdays. And so I went to the gym in the morning and then, I get ready at the gym and I walk from the gym to the bus stop and then I go on to Lakeshore Drive and I go downtown and I go to work. Well, I was like, well, I'm going to start Post while I'm moseying on over. And for some reason, the 146 didn't come for a whole 50 minutes. There was at least 40 people waiting. I befriended a straight man, and we were both like, what the hell? Like, we fist bumped at one point, which was just
Oh.
really frightening.
Growing up.
But in the midst of all this, while I'm, mad about the bus, out of the corner of my ear, I hear the Messiah come to me. The second that the second chorus hits with the beat coming in, I literally had to stop everything that I was doing. I stopped being annoyed. I stopped checking my app and I was like, "Whoa, there's some sorcery happening here." It is like one of the greatest things I've ever heard. She is just such a phenomenal artist. The way that she approaches things vocally, lyrically, sonically, the stories that she tells, the way that she approaches like just saying words and like the meaning and the depth of feeling you get from her. Obviously not for everyone, but very much for me. And like
Yeah.
I go through this before you wake up so I can be happier.
And
Like
feel
it
safe again.
I feel yeah. It's
Safe up
like
here with you.
it is it's hyper gag. That's really what it is. Like
So
Drew,
does
have
that mean
you
the whole time you were talking to that guy, you were listening to Army of Me?
yes. Like
Nice.
I
like
can't
this
wait to listen to this after.
girl, it's
Oh,
gag. Like
true.
Maria, the straight guy is like fist bumping me, being like, bro, what's happening? Meanwhile, I'm queening out to It's Oh So Quiet.
That's a
Yeah.
Bjork song?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
You guys ever see the video of Bjork where I can't remember what award she's accepting, but she goes up and she goes, I am grateful grapefruit. And then that's all she says for her acceptance.
No.
It's so iconic.
That's everything.
It's so good. Oh my
I feel
gosh.
very understood by her. Every single time, like when I'm listening to her music, all the weird shit she says, I'm like, this is like what my brain feels like, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to keep my Bjork journey going. And I'm sure we'll be seeing her at some point. Drew, you need to listen to Hyper Ballad. It is,
Yeah. I'm gonna listen like after this.
yeah, it's hyper
Please
gag.
do.
That's what it is.
It's
Um,
iconic.
okay, I think that is all that we are doing for Hot Tracks. So should we get into our album
Yeah.
of the week?
Yes. The album of the week is a personal favorite of mine. We're doing Super Ache by Conan Gray.
Yay.
Yay!
Yay! Super Ache was released on June 24th, 2022. It's Conan's sophomore album. It's his follow-up to his first album, Kid Crow, that came out in 2020. He also had a couple of EPs before that, but his debut album was Kid Crow. Um, and I love how he describes it. He describes Super Ache as an expansion of his yearning heartbreak. The album touches on themes such as childhood trauma, abuse, friendship, and love as of his experiences of growing up. So I was like, thought that was a great kind of way to sum it up. Um, it has 12 songs, 40 minutes long. So I feel like pretty standard for an album. It's a pop album. It definitely has like some indie kind of alt rock kind of influences, but I would classify it as pop for sure. Um, he worked on the album primarily with Dan Nigro, who is popular for like Olivia Rodrigo, Chappell Roan. So yeah, and I feel like Conan was like out of like the main people that Dan has gotten really famous for, I feel like Conan was kind of like the first one,
Yeah, he
maybe
was.
Caroline. Um,
No,
but I don't think
Conan.
Dan worked on like whole albums with Caroline though, right?
Yeah, and it still would have been Conan because of the EPs that he did.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So Conan was like the main kind of Dan collaborator at the time. Yeah, so um kind of it kind of had an interesting rollout. It kind of at first felt like Levi, you call it like a singlet era, right? Like it just
Yeah,
yeah.
droplets,
Droplets.
Droplets. Sorry, I thought
not a
singlet.
singlet.
I
A
was
sing a
that's like
singlet
we
is what
were
they
for wrestling.
that's what they wear
Right,
wrestling.
right. But basically, if you would have kind of been following Conan in like 2021, you would have thought, oh, he's in like a droplet era. Because he first started out with a single called Overdrive, which is actually not on the album, but it's more of like a kind of like pure pop kind of song. And then he released the song Astronomy May 7th, and then People Watching July 15th, and then Jigsaw January 21st. So we kind of got a lot of kind of droplets before we even knew that all of them were for Super Ache. And then after Super Ache was announced, we got Memories on April 15th and then Yours May 19th. So, something that I kind of thought I compared it a lot to the Desire I Want to Turn Into You by Caroline Polachek rollout. It kind of felt very similar to me, where like we didn't really know where all of these singles were going, but they were all really good. I feel like a lot of times droplet errors can be seen as like a negative thing because a lot of times, they're kind of just throwing things out and hoping that they stick. But this, I actually didn't really mind at all. Because another thing was he was also touring at the time. Like I know Levi saw him like I think it was like March of 2022, like before Super 8 came out. Um,
Hmm.
so it was kind of like an interesting kind of promotional.
Yeah, and it was before it was announced too, is when I
Yeah.
saw him live. But he like sang Jigsaw, he sang Astronomy. The Jigsaw live performance is
Yes, Jigsaw Live is so good.
whoa, whoa.
Whoa. Um, it's also kind of weird though because Kid Crow was obviously really large, like it was a huge release, and he didn't get to tour it because it came out like literally the week of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I think the tour that Levi saw was kind of like what he imagined as like his first kind of big production kind of mainstream tour would be. And he didn't really tour Super 8 that much. I got to see um the Super 8 tour. Levi was being a working actor,
Yeah. It's sad.
but it's fine
I'm working late because I'm an
because you're an
actor.
actor. Um, but it was cool. I think the Chicago show was like one of the last shows of the tour. It was very small, and I remember him saying it was the biggest show of that he had ever played headlined. So it's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, the album cover, I honestly think I was trying to think of like album covers that I'm like obsessed with, and this is probably like in an all-time top three album cover for me. Like, um, if you've never seen it or like heard the album, you should A, go listen to it, but B, you should also like admire the album cover because of how perfect it is. Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, critically it has an 81 on Metacritic, which is obviously pretty good. Um, not a lot of people like reviewed it though. Like it doesn't have a Pitchfork score. It didn't really kind of make a lot of waves. Um, and in a way that like it deserved, I think. It debuted at number 9 on the Billboard chart, and it didn't really go anywhere after that. Yeah, I don't know. I think the kind of reception of it is something that's a little bit of a downer just because of how good it is. Um, Especially because since Super Egg, we've kind of seen Conan shift into um like you can tell that he's obviously kind of sensing and hoping for this kind of mainstream pop success. Because his new album, he actually didn't work with Dan on. He worked with Max Martin on, and it's kind of like a huge sonic shift from what his first two albums presented. So I don't know. I feel like this album obviously kind of shifted him to that direction because obviously like with other people at the time who were working with the same producers like Olivia Rodrigo, Sour had just blown up, and I feel like he was kind of hoping for something like that with this, kind of like the same kind of themes of heartbreak and growing up and like love and that kind of thing. And yeah, unfortunately it didn't really like land commercially, but maybe the Pop Girlies episode will bring it back into the mainstream culture.
Yeah, it's actually the second this episode drops, it's actually gonna go to number one.
Yeah. But no, I mean the rest of kind of what I want to talk about um is more based on like my thoughts about it. But yeah, and he also I didn't know if I don't know if I mentioned this. He also worked with Julia Michaels in Circuit. Circuit was on Disaster, and then Julia Michaels was written on a lot of the other songs. Um, so yeah, but it was all with Dan. Dan was on all of the songs. So yeah. Is there anything else I should add? No?
No.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so I already know a lot of Levi's thoughts. And I'm like excited to hear him talk about it. I don't know if
So,
I want you to go first or not.
well, yeah. So what do you want? Like what you
Um,
said was just a statement. It wasn't like an order.
We
I
need an order.
maybe Maria, you go first.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Will do. So this is my first time listening to Conan Gray. I had heard Heather from his first album because that was a smash,
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 smash, smash.
smash. And that was like when I had first downloaded TikTok during the pandemic. And that was like well, aside from like all of the pandemic TikTok songs, like I think this is one that definitely stands out from the pack and is a little bit more timeless as opposed to the ones where you hear it and your fight or flight goes off and it just feels like you're in the pandemic and you're making like the that whipped coffee situation and then you just feel super weird nostalgic. This one, however, like Heather, the song, I think transcends and that song's lovely. But outside of that, I hadn't really listened to a whole lot of his music. I knew he was super tied to Olivia Rodrigo, like it seems like they're besties. I'm sure one of you can confirm that they like are
Yes.
Yeah.
besties. So yeah, but haven't really listened to his music. Just from afar, I've always kind of thought he was really neat from an aesthetic point of view. It's very apparent that his eras are always very consistent and just very like nice and clean. He's also just a beautiful person. His hair is just so stunning and incredible. So just like from that point of view, it's like, yes, I'm so here for whatever you're gonna do. I'm sure it's gonna be great because he just seems like super awesome. So yeah, first time listening to a full album by him. I will say, and I've said this on the podcast before, but this isn't typically my like preferred sphere of like pop music, and I'm not the biggest ballad fan. Like I don't really seek out ballads all the time. And
Really?
Really?
really,
Wait, but do you like Heather? Well, Heather, is that considered a
yeah,
ballad? I
I
don't
would say
know.
so.
I would say
Yeah.
Heather's a ballad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's not, and it's not like blanket statement I will never like a ballad. It's just like not where my heart wants to go for most of the
Yeah.
time.
It's not that you'd never like a ballad, it's just every ballad that you've listened to, you haven't necessarily liked.
It's
True.
just every single time Levi loves a ballad, Maria has to say that it's the worst song that's ever existed.
Yeah. I like clockwork.
It's
Exactly. Yeah.
something that's happened two times.
Yeah, at least twice. I mean, with that being said, though, I mean, like some of my favorites on this album were ballads,
Wow.
but I would have never sought this out necessarily
Yeah.
under the impression that all of it would have just been ballads that I wouldn't have liked. So, but I did really enjoy it. I think all of this has a very crisp, kind of glittery, glossy kind of quality to it. Like it just feels I feel like he has a way of making music feel nostalgic, even if there isn't something about it necessarily that you can pinpoint and be like, oh, this sounds like this. I feel like he makes pop music that just emulates specific memories, and that's what makes it feel nostalgic. So I had a fun time listening to this, with that being said. Um, but something I'll say too, I mean, he's an incredible vocalist. His voice is so like satisfying to listen to. Like he just has one of those voices where it's like, oh man, if I had that exact same voice, I'd probably never shut up. Because it just seems like it would just sound so fun to sing with his voice. So like kind of just obsessed with that. He's an incredible performer.
And like
Um
he knows how to use it too. Like
Yeah.
there's like Levi always talks about Ariana like doing the speak singing. Like this is
yeah.
like Conan using his voice like in the primest of prime ways.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, I
and
definitely
something that's
agree.
not present on the new stuff.
No.
Yeah.
hmm so yeah, I mean that's really kind of my like big takeaways. I enjoyed the parts that were a little bit more like upbeat poppy for sure. But I liked how there was kind of a mix of like these kind of really deep piano ballads, but also some more kind of like folky acoustic guitar kind of sounds. Like I think it was just a really cool blend of all of these different sounds and instruments, but it all felt very in the same world. Like it didn't really feel like all of these things were super duper out of place. Um, so yeah, I'm not like super sure if it's something that'll go back to a ton. I mean, we did kind of talk before the podcast about his recent album, which is like very, very, very heavily inspired by like different 80s songs and just like 80s pop music in general. And that's kind of where I like to operate. Like the 80s decade is my favorite decade of music, like bookend front to back. So like there's very specific references on it that I was like, oh, cool. This song sounds like this. So I was really enjoying that. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but or maybe, I don't know. But
Not if Levi.
not if Levi can help it.
Well, yeah, because I
So-
need an excuse to give a point one.
Oh my
right.
gosh.
No, I wouldn't get a point one. It wouldn't get a point one.
He likes one song.
I like one song. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I'm not sure if this is going to have a lot of longevity in my world, but I did really enjoy listening to it and definitely, kind of favorited the songs that I'll know I'll want to go back to at some point and listen to them. But yeah, really glad I got to enter into his discography and something too, I love that the name of the album is not the name of a song. I kind of love when albums do that and it's like a very specific word, but then it doesn't appear anywhere else. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool conceptually. So,
Yeah.
Maria, can
shout
I ask
out.
you a question?
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I know that when we talk about this quite a bit, but I know that, your entryway into a song is music and the production and the sonics. And I'm just curious because to me, like, so much of the star of this album is the songwriting and like the emphasis is placed on like his songwriting and specifically his lyrics. And I was just curious about like what you thought about that aspect of the album because I consider it to be such like an important part of the record.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did listen to it recently, so I feel like I just haven't had enough time with it to like really like read through all the lyrics and that all of it could like completely absorb. But like upon my first listen, what I really appreciated with it from a songwriting perspective was just the storytelling. I really enjoyed, and I think it's in what song is it? I mean, I movies I feel like in particular from the songwriting and the storytelling that happens in that, like I really gravitated towards that. But for me, when with the lyrics, I feel like it takes for me like at least more than a couple times to be like, what's actually being said? Because a lot of the times, like you said, I'm much more minded on what it sounds like before I'm thinking about what's being said. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of repetition. But
How do
um,
you listen to music? Because whenever I listen to a new album, I have like the lyrics up.
um,
Do you
kind
ever
of
do that?
depends. I usually don't do that on a first listen. And for no particular reason. I just like haven't gotten into the practice of doing that.
Because I get lost in like what, and I guess this just makes sense because I want to know what they're saying because I want to understand what the
Right.
song's about, and like it's hard. It can be hard for me. I can get kind of overwhelmed, I guess, by everything if I don't have the lyrics in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something I want to get like a little bit more consistent with because, it can definitely happen where I've listened to a song like 30 times and I've like by then I've got the lyrics memorized and I'm like, well, wait, I know what they're saying, but what is actually being said? Like your mind can just go on autopilot so easily when it comes to memorization like that, and especially if you're like, I like this, I'm just gonna listen to it over and over and over again. And then you're like, well, what's the deeper meaning of what's being said? So yeah, wanting to be a little bit more mindful with that. So
Levi
yeah.
and I in the Taylor Swift school of listening,
Yeah.
like we have to
Yeah.
like every time we listen to something new, we have to have like lyrics pulled up, pausing every 4 seconds. Like, what the fuck did she just say? Like,
Well,
yeah,
and there's also the most words ever being said by a
yeah.
human
Well,
being.
yeah.
I mean, Tortured Poets Department was just like a challenge for her to say as many words in
It
like
was
a
like that Chris Brown "Look at Me Now" rap or whatever. I think that is the most words per second in a
Well, isn't
song.
that Eminem, Rap God?
Oh, I thought it was "Look at Me Now" by Chris Brown.
Well, we're talking. Well, it's I don't know, but I know. Well, in Rap God, he raps really fast, and I know that was like a moment in pop culture for a moment.
I
But
don't know.
It was a
I'm sure.
moment for
I'm
a
sure
moment.
everyone can rap
It was the
fast.
moment for a moment.
I think we all rap.
I think we all rap.
Okay,
Well, it was no who does that really fast rap in Hamilton?
Uh,
David
uh,
Diggs.
yeah, Dovey Dix,
Yeah,
Marquis
It's
but
Guns and
Lafayette.
Chips. Guns and Chips.
it's the Guns and Ships. No guns and ships.
It's yeah.
Anyways,
It's mm-mm.
okay, so am I good to take over?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's funny because, Maria said that this is like not her natural avenue of pop music, and this very much is my natural avenue of pop music. I mean, I think, first of all, he is, and honestly, as a listener, like, to me, was one of the first significant, like, Tay children, like somebody who you can absolutely tell grew up listening to Taylor Swift. And you can tell that her music was like very instrumental and influential in the way that he crafts songs and approaches lyrics. I mean, I think that you can really tell her influence and hear her influence and the writing in this. The way that, like Maria mentioned, so much of the emphasis of this record is about storytelling. There's narratives. It's all confessional. There's very specific details. He's setting a scene. He's, adding depth to the characters. I mean, he's approaching these songs in a way that's very similar to the way that Taylor approaches her songs. And I got introduced to Conan Gray. I actually don't remember. I think maybe he like just came up for me on like Twitter or YouTube or something. I started listening to him my freshman year of college. So this was like right when his EP Sunset Season had come out. And it was before the lead up to Kid Crow. Like that was just starting to kind of get teased. And then that was released our sophomore year, right as COVID happened. And yeah, there's a specific song in that EP, well, two really, that like are big for me, Crush Culture and Lookalike. And I streamed the hell out of those songs. And it was just really exciting for me. I mean, I know I always joke about like only ever like listening to women. Uh and it was kind of just cool to be like, oh, this is like a male singer that like I'm actually really invested in. Like I really, really like his music. And I was super invested in Kid Crow as an album and all those singles. I think that's a really great debut record. I think there's a lot of really special songs in that album. And then, yeah, like what Drew said, I mean, I was here for all the droplets that he was releasing. And then when Super 8 came out, I mean, I was pretty blown away. I felt like it was such a level up from Kid Crow. I think it like takes all the potential that's there in Kid Crow and like all like the promising signs of, oh, like this is somebody who knows how to write a song. This is somebody who like knows like kind of what he wants, somebody who has a personality, somebody who knows the kind of artist he wants to be. And then Super 8 just expands on that in every single possible way. I'll start with where Maria started. I mean, Dan Nigro is just, he's one of the best producers out there. So richly deserved his win yesterday for producer of the year. I mean, he's so versatile, but he also has a specific touch that you can kind of tell that it's a Dan song. I think Jack Antonoff is similar. Um, the production of this album is so beautiful. To me, to kind of expand on what Maria was saying about this like nostalgic feeling, I think all these songs are very warm and like full. This isn't a cold album. It's not an album that's removed at all. I think the like intense emotional vulnerability of the lyrics are really reflected in the sonics. Like the acoustic guitars, I'm specifically thinking right now of the song Footnote. The acoustic guitars just have this like lush warmth to them that I think is really beautiful. But I think Dan's really great about like making acoustic instrumentation and production sound really interesting. There's always like interesting details and trinkets and sounds going on in the background. And there's just such nuance. I also love the heavier moments on the album. I love the crunchy guitars on Jigsaw. I love like the kind of flirtation with synths that we get occasionally. Like Disaster is kind of a big synth moment. I also want to highlight the vocal arrangements on this album. I don't know like who's primarily responsible for those. Like I don't know if that's something that like Conan just does on his own or if he like does that with his collaborators, but the harmonies are insane. And I know another one of his big influences, Lord, and you can I think really tell that specifically like the Lord of Pure Heroin with all those like stacked harmonies. I think you can tell that influence a lot from this album. I think the way that like just big sounds of people come in, like the bridge of people watching or the exit. I mean, it's the vocal stacking is, I think, really, really terrific. But for me, the star of the show is the songwriting. I think he is such a phenomenal songwriter. And the reason why the follow-up album Found Heaven is such a disappointment for me. It's not because with you, Maria, like 80s, the 80s is one of my favorite decades of music. I think 80s is just like so much. I mean, the 80s is honestly to me kind of like shit except for the music because like the movies aren't my favorite in the 80s. Like there are some movies I love, but like I think like the 70s and the 90s are like much better decades for movies. And then like
Uh-huh.
culturally, so many like things were happening that was horrible in the 80s. I mean, obviously like it's
Right.
Reagan and then there was, the AIDS crisis and just so many horrible things happening. I love 80s music. And so it's not like the sonics of that album that I find disappointing. To me it's a lyrical regression because what I love so much about Conan is I love his songwriting, I love his lyrics. And he's always talked about like that being so important to him as an artist and you get such a sense of self from these songs, in my opinion. Like Super Ache, I think you listen to it once and like you can like, well, if you have the lyrics in front of you, and you can tell who that wasn't Shade Mirror, that wasn't Shade, that wasn't Shade, that wasn't Shade.
I know, I was just joking.
Um, but you can just I think you get a really clear sense of who he is as a person. There's so much personality in these songs. And what I found disappointing about the follow-up record, Found Heaven, is that I felt like that personality was missing. And there wasn't the depth and the nuance that like I came to expect. I bought into Conan Gray back in 2018 with his EP, and I gotten that what I wanted in each project, and then it's something completely different, and I know genre switch ups are really hard to do. It's really hard to maintain your a voice while changing up your sound, and I recognize that. But yeah, that's why it fell flat for me because I love so much the songwriting of this album. I think lyrically it's really terrific. I think, you know, a lot of these songs, I mean, most of the songs are about love, and I think it's a similar thing to Taylor where like yeah, all the full album could be songs about relationships and romantic feelings, and that would be boring if the songwriting wasn't so good. But the songwriting is consistently so interesting. He has such like a way of like coming up with like really interesting concepts. Like I think the way that he talks about like this concept of kind of being a Frankenstein version of yourself and like breaking yourself apart and putting yourself back together to be whatever your partner wants from you. He puts that together, puts that words that so beautifully in Jigsaw. I love the way that he incorporates this like family line metaphor in that song. I think Footnote has a really great example of that. I'm just a footnote in your life, and the way that he kind of ties that literary theme throughout the song. The Exit has some of my favorite lyrics, like an year of the last few years on that. So yeah, I'll get into it more in my Holy Trinity and stuff, but the songwriting to me is the standout. And then like what Drew said, he's an amazing vocalist and he has some just absolutely gorgeous vocal moments. The Yours bridge. Oh my God, the Yours bridge. That's the other thing. That's the other thing I want to say. That's the last thing I'll say. You can tell he's a Tay child because the bridges on this motherfucking album. Oh,
I mean that
15,
that Yours Bridge, we can like have a moment of silence for that.
Everyone
15,
pause for 5 seconds.
Okay.
15 dozen roses.
I didn't think you were gonna actually do
Like,
it.
but like the way that the production comes
Comes in
like
and
bursts
and
in.
it's all that like the background vocals. It's the background vocals and like because it goes from just him doing that beautiful chorus melody and then it's just a wall of sound. Oh my
Like
God.
Olivia Rodrigo, I love you. Yours should have been 20 million times bigger of a song than Driver's License. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Like, how is
Oh,
yours not like the biggest song that ever existed ever?
The Bridge of Yours, I could listen to that for like, I should have known that it was Dumb Love. 15 dozen roses.
I was
Oh
gonna
my
say,
God.
like, I just looked it up because I was like really hoping that this album had come out before Harry's House did, but they came out like a month apart, and Harry's House became came out before this. Because when I was
Oh
listening to
God.
yours, oh, all right, when I was listening to yours, it was kind of giving me "Falling" by Harry Styles vibes. Like, I don't know if that like rings a bell for any
Yeah.
of you guys, but like I think yours is just like such a better version of like that ballad structure. So I was going to be like, oh, like Harry wanted Conan's nachos, but technically Falling came out
Was
first.
Falling
So
on I thought it wasn't Falling on Fine Line.
I'm pretty sure, is it? I think Falling is on
uh-oh.
Fine Line.
Oh, you got me. You got me.
You
I'm
got me,
such a
gal.
you got me, gal. Yeah,
Yeah, because
Okay,
it had the video where he's like underwater, right?
yeah, Falling's an,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
do love Falling though. I love
I like
that song.
Falling.
Um,
I mean,
I
it's
will,
not anything against yours, but
no,
uh,
that's sorry, that like all of
no, no,
that, that's what I was
no.
trying to say,
Yeah, I
but
know, I know, I
not
know.
only did I get the year wrong, I got the album wrong, I got all of it wrong. So let's just
It's
move on.
you're perfect.
Thanks. You're perfect.
so yeah, but the bridge to bring it back.
Yeah,
Oh, I we also have to talk about the people watching Bridge.
right.
The people watching Bridge. Maybe I'm the only one who's gagging. I don't know,
No,
but
the thing that gags me about people watching is I the bridge is number two.
is it the chorus?
I'm gagging. I'm projectile vomiting at that opening line. I wasn't funny. That wasn't funny, but she laughed so hard she almost cried.
Over I feel love
That
emotion.
is such a good lyric.
I feel love. Okay, I have to say, when I saw him at tour, because I was kind of a little bit of a hater in that song. Wasn't
I
really
think we
gagging
both,
for
yeah,
it.
we both weren't gagging.
But let me tell you, hearing a whole bunch of Nashville preteen girls and their fathers sing "I Feel Love Emotion." I feel love emotion. I mean, who isn't feeling
You
love
feel
emotion?
it.
Weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs. Everyone's singing it. I mean, I love the bridges on this album. And for me, like bridges are my favorite parts of songs because I'm a Swiftie and that's how I was trained.
Right.
Um, and there's just so much like the bridge is just endless possibilities. Like a bridge can really take a song to the next level, and he takes so many of these songs to the next level on these bridges. They're really
I
insane.
mean, also the footnote bridge. Please
The
don't
foot,
forget me.
the please don't. Yeah. Yeah. You had
So
to
he was
Yeah.
say
going
it.
through a breakup. He was going through a breakup and then he wrote
I
the song.
know. No. So
No?
that's something I probably should have said. He like his I mean, before this, I think in between this and Found Heaven, I think he kind of got into like a relationship. He had never no, he had never been in a relationship.
So like all these songs are about like
Oh
people that like
Lord.
Just come
work
into his life and then like
and then
yeah.
like
Oh,
leave. I mean, this is a concept album about how situationships will make you suicidal.
Yeah.
cautionary tale. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why like Footnote is so devastating because it's like I mean, I love an unrequited song and it's very unrequited, but then also like you can tell why he's so fucked up because then like a song like Memories comes in and this person's like stumbling to his kitchen drunk in the middle of the night and you're like, "What the hell are you doing?" So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I love this record. I think it's a really great record. I agree with Drew. It's sad to me that like Conan has not had the breakthrough moment that some other Dan Nigro
I
collaborators
mean,
have
all of
had.
the others.
All of the others, yeah. I don't really know what it is, to be honest with you.
I think like Super 8 just I so while I was kind of saying I liked the droplet because I liked all of the songs, I think it was kind of a miss for the promotional a little bit. Like I think maybe they could have like really pushed the Super 8 kind of concept more. I don't know. I mean that's just me trying to fix it. I don't know if there is like a Wait, because all of these songs are like smashes, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, because we're in an era where like this is the kind of music that is doing so well in charts, like sturdy pop songwriting with great melodies and confessional lyrics. And like I just don't get why like these songs weren't big. Like it just
Well,
doesn't make
also it's like
sense.
it's crazy how like I feel like it's so recent, but it kind of isn't. Like it's kind of
No, yeah, it's 2022 now.
like
It's almost
it
3 years ago.
was kind of like ahead of its time almost, which is
Well,
weird
no,
because
Taylor was doing
Sour.
it first. I mean, let's
No, no, no. I mean
he was reheating
super.
Taylor's
Yeah,
nachos.
yeah. Right, right.
Okay, also, why is that the
Wait,
funniest sentence of all time?
I don't
well,
I
I was
know.
gonna
Y'all are
say
always
like
talking about the fucking nachos.
the nachos. Like 2 months ago, I tried to go on Urban Dictionary and I was like, where did this come from? Like, why do
oh,
we
oh,
say nachos?
I can tell you.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I can tell you. Do you guys know who Natalie Nunn is?
No.
Yes.
So Natalie Nunn is a rapper who is what show is she on? She like is on this.
I say yes, I've heard her name, and that's it.
Yeah, so
So
she's in Bad Girls Club and then like she like hosts a bunch of shows and like she's just like a reality TV person and I think she also like makes music and stuff. But there was this like meme of her. I hate that I know this. My God, why can't I know fucking square root of pi or something or how to change a tire? I know about Natalie Nunn, but it's her like there's this girl eating nachos and it's like her like looking at the nachos and she keeps eyeing them up kind of from behind her and there's this tweet that went viral saying, "Oh my God, Natalie wanted her nachos." And then that was the origin. And so
So it's
now
just that.
yeah, and so now like when somebody says like, "Oh, like Maria wanted Drew's nachos," that would be like Maria like wanting to copy something that Drew's doing. Or if I'm saying like oh, like what's a good example of this? Like culturally.
like people right now are being like, "Oh my God, Gaga's reheating her own nachos."
Yeah, so like she's like doing something that she's done before and she's like reheating them up and yeah, like that's what it is. That's
Uh-huh.
what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
that's so
Okay.
legendary.
like if we're talking about like, 3 hour long epics, the Brutalist wanted Oppenheimer's nachos.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes,
That's a good
yes.
one. Good one.
Good
So
one.
that's the origin of the nachos.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I know now, but it's just the funniest thing ever. It's so funny to say, and it's so funny to read people
It's
saying it.
so funny to say.
Yeah.
It literally is my favorite thing in the world to say. It's so funny. That
I'm
I've been
You
obsessed.
saying that a lot, and I've been saying fucking idiot from House of
House
Gucci.
of Gucci,
Don't miss.
don't miss.
Hey,
Maria during every commercial break of the Grammys last night. Don't miss.
Don't miss. Exactly.
so
Something that you guys haven't really talked about regarding the album. I mean the fucking cover.
you
Were
already
y'all
talked about
gagging or
it.
not?
You already talked about it.
I
What?
mean, but it deserves like you're just fine with me saying it's the best of all time, or
Well, I know it's not the
That's
best
your
of all time for
opinion.
you
well,
because
yeah,
Teenage
because
Dream is the
Teenage
best for
Dream.
you. Well, I was curious because you said it was top three. What would the third be? Golden Hour?
No, I don't know. I I was honestly just saying top three because I knew Katie was number one, and I didn't want to like say it was top two because I didn't know if there was another really big one that I was missing. Um, so
A
it's like
Troy
my
cover
favorite
or no?
besides Teenage Dream. No, no, I like this better than the track cover.
Then the what cover?
The
Troy.
something to give each other.
Oh God. What something to get something to
Yeah,
give
you
each
got
other.
it. Yep.
Something to give each
Did I get it
other.
right?
So, yep. So Levi loves the album, but cannot say the title without adding a few more prepositions to there.
Sorry.
And something to give each other.
But no, love Troy.
Love. Well,
But
I can't wait to figure out what your other album cover is in your top
wait,
three.
so Levi, you love the cover too, right?
Yes, Drew, we've talked about this so much.
We all like it. I love
We've,
that he's in
but
a suit.
you and me specifically have talked about this probably for hours before, for like years. Yes, the cover is excellent. It is great. It's a serve.
Okay. Cool. I just wanted to double check.
I mean,
Okay.
you know where I stand. Why is it Maria getting grilled?
I don't know, because Maria, I feel like would have said if she didn't like it.
Well,
Correct.
and I wouldn't
I
have.
suppose. Because Levi's a
So,
liar, so he would have just lied and said that he liked it
Yeah,
well,
anyway.
I
I
love to
was hoping
lie.
Levi would go on like a huge tangent on how good it was, to be
I mean,
honest.
it's great.
Maybe
Like
next time you just write a script for
I'm not.
Levi.
Yeah. Do you want to just tell me what you want me to say?
Best original screenplay, Super 8 episode.
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like my favorite of all time because it's not, but like it's great.
Right.
It like represents the album really well. It's very striking. I love the textures of the flowers. Like, yeah, it's great. It's good. It's so
Cool.
good.
It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
There's a lot of really good album covers though from 2022.
Lots
Um,
of good ones.
like the SOS cover is really great. The Dance Fever cover is really great. I mean, I love the Midnight's cover, obs. Um, there
Oh,
are they're terrorists, but the 1975 cover is the
the
for
one where he's on a
being
car.
yeah, I love that cover. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
That
The
album
Solar
is
Power 2022 or is that 2021?
2021.
Oh,
That's 21, yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of all that I have to say now that I've given the praise required for the cover.
cool. Okay, yeah. So kind of going to my thoughts. I obviously am obsessed with this. I think it's like obviously one of my favorite albums ever. Kind of how I was exposed to Conan was by Levi. I remember exactly where I was. We were talking on the phone because we'd been sent home, and I had seen the cover of Kid Crow on Twitter. I didn't know it was an album cover, and I didn't know like anything about it. I just had seen that photo because it's a very like striking photo. Um,
Yeah, it's a great
and
cover.
yeah, great cover. And Levi was like,
Not as
"Have you
good as
listened
Super
to?"
8 though. Not as good as Super 8.
Right, right.
Before the police come to me, the art police. Not as good as
Don't
Super
get it
8.
twisted.
Um, and Levi was like, I remember I was in a drive-through in my car, and Levi was like, have you listened to Kid Crow? And I was like, well, I don't know what Kid Crow is. And then I was like, stopped. I wasn't texting and driving. And he was like, listen to this album. It's so good. And I remember like listening to it, and I was like, not really vibing with it at first. And then it's like one of those things where you honestly like, because I was obviously living at home. So it was kind of like, and we were at college. So it was interesting because we were like all kind of in our like childhood bedrooms. It was kind of like one of those things where like you kind of wanted to hear that album for the first time, like in your childhood bedroom, feeling like super nostalgic. So yeah. And then I just like ascended to it. I like was obsessed with Kid Crow after that. Was really anticipating the next kind of release. And then with all of the singles that came out for Super 8, I was getting really invested. Um, And I was just like, okay, I'm ready for. And at the point with all of the kind of lead ups with the little singles that he was dropping, I was like, oh, well, I'm just really ready for like whenever he decides to announce like what his next project is going to be. And then I remember when he announced that it was Super Egg and that some of the songs that he had released were going to be involved, I was like, whoa, like that is like a really good concept and idea. And I just thought it all like worked together so well. So yeah, I like this album came at like the perfect time for me. Like I had such a great like emotional connection to it. I felt like it was so like I don't know, I just felt it was so reminiscent of the time. Like I can listen to it again now and like go through the like exactly what I was going through senior year of college and yeah, it's just like the best kind of thing. And I also like I love how he was talking about in that description that I said earlier about like how it's about like a change in time of like how he like went about talking about love in songs. And I feel like it was a similar way for me where I was kind of like it because it was the summer after we had graduated. So and I just started like working like at a job and I remember like how I remember listening to the album is listening to it on the bus on the way to work and like turning into a new kind of chapter in my life. And I kind of like that is kind of like how we talked about the Blessed and Rest, like how it's kind of like a time of change. I feel like this was kind of the bridge, this album was kind of the bridge between like college and like adulthood in a way. So yeah, really special album to me. Obviously, like the sounds I'm obsessed with. I think his voice is like kind of everything. I also think like this might be like my favorite album by a gay man. Period.
Period.
I don't because I do like it better than the Troy album. So, and that
Wait,
is the only
really?
other one that comes to mind. Yeah, this is like a because Maria wasn't quite like obviously we're besties at the time, but like I don't know. Levi got all of the Super Ache text praise at the
Yeah.
Well,
time.
and
I mean,
also
like,
like, we like both love Conan, so that makes sense. Like that
yeah.
we're
Well,
bonding.
and like I also think like Conan makes music like obviously he makes music for like everyone, but I feel like his music tailors so much to like overdramatic theater kids, to be honest.
Oh.
Like I remember I
Yeah, so yeah, he really
Oh,
tailors it to overdramatic theater kids. That's why Levi loves him.
no, that's why I love him.
Yeah. Well, yes.
No, but I like you just why I'm saying this is because I remember in voice because we I took voice class in college because me and Levi were theater majors, and I sang astronomy in voice class. And every song I sang in voice class, I got to the point where it's like, I fucking hate this song and I never want to listen or hear it again because it fucking sucks and I, whatever. That was the only song that I sang in voice. So I was like, this is fucking everything. Like, I am obsessed still. And I still am obsessed with the song. So, yeah. So I just feel like he makes music for like people who want to just like feel everything to it.
Yeah, for he makes music for people that feel very deeply because he feels
Yeah.
very deeply.
Yeah. Well, and I
He
love watching his like interviews too. He's so like over dramatic with how he like talks about things and yeah. So yeah,
so
I think that's all I
slay.
wanted to say.
That's so cool that you sang astronomy for your
Yes,
voice
yes. It
lessons.
was like it was like right around like the end of senior year I sang it. So
Oh, cool. Oh my
love that
gosh.
one. Yeah.
Love.
Hey,
Okay.
Well,
So
how do you want to do
um
this?
so let's do because we have time. I think let's do the me's first, and then we'll go back around.
Okay.
So,
cool.
I'll have Levi do the me first.
Well, no, it has to be. Does everyone be in order? Maria start because Maria gave her opinion first.
Oh, okay, Maria.
Okay. Okay,
Levi
well,
doesn't want
my,
me. Levi doesn't want to experience the wrath.
I know. I'm nervous. I'm
yeah.
nervous.
Well, My Me is the song that I resonated with the least sonically. I did appreciate what was being said because I thought it was really, really cute. But this, I think, for me was like a major outlier that I was like, everything, like I said before, like fits in the same family, but I think this is just like a little bit outside of it and just didn't hit me in the best way. But it's going to be Best Friend.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah,
okay? Was that expected?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying too.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
it is an outlier for sure.
Thank you. Okay, that's
I
my
I
me.
kind of think it's like a moment of levity. Like I like it just
Yeah.
because the album's very like intense, but I think that's completely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy
Well,
like when it gets light for a moment for sure. Kind of like what you're saying, Levi, but yeah. Yeah.
and the outliers of the album, like Family Line is another outlier for me, and like Summer Child. And I feel like they're like three different kind of aspects of love that you don't really see a lot in like breakup albums or like heartbreak albums. So I kind of love that it's included. It like has such a place, but I completely understand how it
Yeah.
like kind of jumps out a little.
Yeah. Cool. Levi.
Oh,
Levi,
I'm so scared. So
what is up?
this whole thing was really hard for me. Coming up with the was really hard for me, the me, and then coming up with the Holy Trinity was really hard. I knew what my favorite song is, but I didn't know anything else. And it took me, I finalized it this morning and I'd been thinking about it for days. I think that this album is super consistent. And I think that like these songs all fit on this album really well. I don't think, like it makes sense that Maria's was because it's the song that resonates the least with her. Because I don't think that you listen to this album and like, oh, this song is bad. Like there's not like a
Right.
clear, obvious like flop moment. I think it's a really consistent album. And so the song that I picked is a song I really like. It's a song I like a lot. I think it's a good song. I think for me, it's the one that like feels the least essential. I think that other songs are saying the same thing that this song is saying in more interesting ways. I also think that this song to me feels the least specifically Super Ache. I think that it could have existed on Kid Crow. Whereas I think, with other moments on this album, I feel like you really like get the sense of growth. And I think this song is really good, but to me, it could have existed on Kid Crow. It doesn't feel as important to the Super Ache story as all the other songs. And it's not a pass on the quality of the song. And it is astronomy. So there's
Mm,
that.
Silence.
mm.
Wow.
It's
I feel
Can
like
we
again,
this
just
is,
sit
I
with
feel
what we
like,
heard?
I feel like this is the first time I've actually been like significantly hurt by one of Levi's least favorite songs.
wait, you're hurt?
Yes.
Oh, I love astronomy.
I'm sorry. I'm
I
really
thought you were gonna say
sorry.
disaster.
No, because I think Disaster adds something. I think it captures something that's not present in other songs. Because the thing with Astronomy is like, Astronomy to me is so much of like a Kid Crow song. That song like fits the imagery of that song to me is a lot more Kid Crow than it is Super Ache. And I think there's like this feeling of like something not working out. Like obviously that's a theme throughout a lot of these songs, but I think there's more interesting things sonically, melodically, lyrically happening in other aspects. Like I'm trying to remember this album. It goes, yeah, Astronomy goes into Yours, which Yours is
Yeah.
about kind of a similar thing, but Yours to me is a much more interesting song to listen to.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm so sorry to the people I've hurt, but so
Okay.
okay.
So my me, I also of course had a really hard time, obviously because of how consistent it is. I initially had a different me, and then I did a song sorter online, and it told me like what my least favorite was when every song was pitted against each other, and it did make sense to me. Um, so I'm with my me is memories.
That kind of surprises me. I thought
Yeah,
you
I
loved
mean I
that
love the
song.
song. I love it a lot. I think I I it is I mean the song sorter is correct because I do probably listen to it the least out of all of these. But yeah, I mean, I it's hard for me to say like why because it is so good. Um, but yeah, I mean, and maybe it's because like his like the it's not a vocal highlight as much as the other songs, maybe. Um, I mean, he sounds great, but he's not doing like acrobatic singing in this one as he does in the others. Maybe
I
that's
love
why.
the chorus of Memories. I think the chorus is so
Chorus is
good.
great.
I love the way that it comes in. Ugh.
Yeah. He always talks about how he wrote that song in like 10 minutes. Like he
That's
just sat at the
crazy.
piano and wrote it, which is like so
That's
crazy.
especially crazy because like the structure's kind of interesting. Like the chord progression in that song
Yeah,
is like not like it just a normal like four chord structure. It's just
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Memories is the me. Memories.
So Holy Trinity time.
Okay, Holy Trinity time.
Okay.
Maria.
So my number three is going to be Summer Child. Was living for this a whole bunch. And kind of towards the end, like towards the bridge, he was hitting kind of like Beatles-esque chord progressions. And I was just
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
you're so right.
you're so
ooh.
right.
So I was just like, wait. Like I was listening, and then it's like my ears like really, really tuned into the song. I was like, yes, I see what he's doing here, and I love it. So,
That song reminds me so much of Levi.
Yeah, I love that song.
oh,
That's a really
hand
Because
special
you
heart.
song to
hate
me.
this, you hate the summer.
I hate the heat. Yeah. I hate the summer. Can't stand the heat. Okay, so
Wait, what was
thank you.
that? Am I just dumb?
It's solar power, Lord,
It's solar power,
but
but switching
instead of hate
lyrics.
the
Oh.
winter.
Oh, okay. That
Oh
went
yeah.
way over
Oh,
my head.
I forgot. Maria hates Lord and wants New Zealand to burn.
We need to do a Lord episode on the pod.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm already cooking and planning and
Okay, okay.
plotting and
It's
scheming.
cooking. The Lord expert's cooking.
I love that it's a scheme that you would get us to do a Lord episode.
I thought very hard about what the first one's going to be because Maria, correct me if I'm wrong. You've never listened to Melodrama in full, correct?
That is still correct.
Oh.
So like it's like, do we start with the gag of the century or like do we like
Yeah.
have like also gag pure heroin
No.
as one? I don't
I've
know.
listened to all of that. I was there. I
You were
just
there
for
for
some
pure
reason
heroin.
I was 100% fully there. I just for some reason I didn't
So
listen
you
all of
were there for
melodrama.
pure heroin and then you decided to get off the train for melodrama,
I know a lot of
Melagagra.
people. I know a lot of people how that was that they were there for pure heroin and then
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't have a good reason. For some reason, just like it's
I
not
think
that
it
it
was
wasn't
the
on my radar.
rollout of it. I think the rollout was not as like popular.
It wasn't that it wasn't on my radar. For some, I just like never chose it. I just it wasn't like, oh my God, the next Lord album. Like for some reason, it wasn't a big moment for me. But I had a friend who made a real big moment out of Supercut because I would drive him around all the time and he would just always go, in your car, the radio up, in your car, the radio up all the time.
Oh
So
my
it was
God.
so funny. So like
Um,
Maria,
that, I was there for the singles.
I'm so jealous of you that you get to experience melodrama for the first
oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's
You
my
should
gift
start
to you.
listening now so that you can get to the lyrics. You can listen to it like 45 times so
yes,
that
because
then you can
that's
get to the lyrics.
you have to get to lyrics on that one girl. Like you can't do the one listen and then go into you have to know the lyrics of
I'm
melodrama.
sorry.
Yeah, you don't have to, you can't just like look at the lyrics. You have to know them.
I was
Yeah,
just
you
on a
have
business trip. I'm sorry.
So
no. There's
we're gonna start pre-production.
We will
so
start the
we
pre-production
will
and then
start the
I will listen to the
pre-production.
lyrics. So don't
Yes.
stress. I will listen and I will understand and read the lyrics.
Well,
So
yes.
so yes. So my number three was Summer Child to tie it all back into my Holy Trinity. And then my number two is actually going to be Astronomy.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
I know. I just really liked the kind of spacey quality in it.
Yeah.
I kind of talked last week when we were talking about Eusexua about um that kind of stuff. I think it was like specifically with like childlike things where I was just like, oh my gosh, this kind of has that kind of quality to it and whatever. Um I think something I talked about also last week was that I think I had Skin from Ray of Light as my hot track. And I
Hmm.
also just love all the weird like little like sonar bleeps and bloops. And I was just getting that from this. Like obviously it's not as intense. Like it's a little bit more singer-songwritery here, but I
Yeah,
liked it a lot.
it's a little bit more singer-songwritery than Skin.
Than Miss Madonna, than the
Yeah,
Queen
than
Honey.
God of Light.
Yeah. So so yeah, that's my number two is astronomy. And then my number one is going to be yours.
Wow, it's yours.
It's yours. Yes. I just enjoyed listening to the song so much. And again, like I said before, just his performance on it is so stunning. His voice is so incredible. And yeah, it's just like honestly such a treat to experience listening to it. It's really great. It's so good. And I liked the video a whole lot too. And for a while I thought the video was just going to be one shot of him slowly zooming out. But then it slowly goes to other angles because it's the one where he's just standing in a field of flowers.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, how gaggy would it be if it's just the one shot and it slowly expands the whole time? But I still really liked it and I thought it was a cool companion with the song. But Yeah, that is my number one.
Maria, were you also gagging at the bridge?
Oh, yes.
It is
I
just
mean,
like that bridge, I just think comes out of fucking nowhere and it kills you.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say though, I'm surprised that Jigsaw wasn't in your top three. I was really thinking that that would be a Maria song since it's such like kind of a heavier rock moment.
Yeah, I was kind of debating it, but like I feel like these other moments were just like highlights for me. But like I was kind of it was in the mix for a little bit for sure.
Okay.
Um, but what's you said something earlier about like the bridges because you were taught by Taylor to enjoy the bridges. And then my mind just went blank for a moment because what's the line that she says and who's afraid of little old me? Where it's like, oh, this is how you taught me, or I'm the way that you made me, or
Oh,
something.
I am what I am because you trained me.
Yes, that's what I was trying to think of, and I wanted to say it in the moment, but then I forgot it.
Oh, girl, she
Um,
trained me. She
I was
trained
trying
me.
to, I was going through the filing cabinet of my TTPD filing cabinet in my brain because it's in there. Because yesterday at the Grammys, I clocked that the So High School song was playing when she came on stage, which is
Which
in
was
the expanded version.
such like a random song for that to
Really
be
random.
playing.
Really
Yeah, like
random.
I kind of like don't really get that,
Yeah,
but
it was a
I don't know.
surprise, but I really liked that song because,
Oh,
Pop
I
Girlies
love that
Nation,
song.
when we talked about TTPD, we didn't talk about the anthology, but that was a highlight for me when I listened to the full thing. Because when I listened to it, I listened all the way through the normal version and the anthology, and that one I really liked. Show.
I love So High School to me feels like such like a classic Taylor song.
100%. 100%.
Okay. I'm gonna go now.
Yes.
So my three, again, this was so difficult for me. My three is bum ba ba dum bum 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 footnote. I
Yes.
I adore that song. I think that is
Yeah.
such a beautiful song. Um,
This was a moment where the lyrics really did stick with me, though, of
oh
what he was
really?
saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just think the songwriting on that I think is just so beautiful the way that he tells the story and I think like the metaphor of it being a footnote is like you being a footnote in your life like the just like he
Yeah.
says that and you know exactly what that means. You know exactly what that feels like. The feeling of like feeling so small and insignificant to somebody who is so significant to you. I do have to get on my soapbox for a second though. Because the reason why this isn't like two or one, well, two, my one is locked, but the reason why this isn't two is he pisses me the fuck off in the first pre-chorus. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So let me pull up the lyrics. So the first pre-chorus is, so I'll stop being pretentious and loathing our friendship. You taught me a lesson that love isn't precious. It's not like the novels. And he sings, no pride and prejudice at all. I didn't know that prejudice can be pronounced prejudice.
Prejudice.
No, that's not how
Mm.
that works. That's not how grammar works. That's not how the English language works. What is prejudice? It pisses me the
Oh.
fuck off because it's like I know you wanted to like have that like rhyme really work and like the emphasis is not on the syllable to make it work, but like you could have just had like no pride and prejudice at all. Like you could have made that happen and it would have been it distracts me every single time. And it
Yeah.
always pisses me off just a little bit. I'm like, that's just not what a word is.
That's so funny.
So, yeah. Uh really annoying to me personally. So, that's my number 3. My
Yeah.
number 2 is oh, I just forgot everything. But it's Jigsaw. My number 2 is Jigsaw. I love the heaviness of that moment. I love like the catharsis in that song. Again, I think that the imagery in the song is really terrific. I love the metaphor that he uses, and I think he does it in such an interesting way. The angst of the song is so fun. I love like the shouty moments. I love the heaviness. and the griminess of the guitars. There's also like a specific lyrical moment that I told you that I would get into my lyrical bag with this. And there's
Oh, of course.
a specific lyrical moment I wanted to point out. It's in the first verse, and it's um if being less insane would make you stay, then I'd be more like my sister. Say thank you, ma'am and mister, to you. I it's so satisfying in the complete
Yeah.
opposite way that the syllables of prejudice make every fiber of my being combust into flames,
Yeah.
burst into flames. The thank you, ma'am and mister, so satisfying. My brain is itched. My brain is itchy, 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 itchy. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, so that's my number two. My number two is Footnote. And then my number one, the gag to end all gags, the song of the century, some have said, the newest testament, people have claimed, the exit. Now, now that, now that is how we end an album, everyone. That is the
Take
way
notes.
that we end a record.
That's the
Oh,
blueprint.
it's the pink print. Like, we're just gonna do some literature reading real quick. Fucking, I'm sorry, we all have to gag about this. We all have to gag about this, or Pop Girlie's canceled. Feels like we had matching wounds, but mine's still black and bruised, and yours is perfectly fine now. Feels like we buried alive something that never died. Oh my God! Collapse!
Yeah. No, for me, it's the
Oh,
start of the second verse. The I can't hate you for getting everything we wanted. I just thought that I would be a part of it.
I was moving into your
Your
apartment
apartment.
when you met someone.
Also,
Oh,
sorry, I did have some technical difficulties, so I did have to pop out and pop in. And I am seeing in the chat the top threes of
yeah.
everyone, and I do approve.
So for the Pop Girlies listeners, the reason why it was just the Maria Levi show for the last few minutes was because,
Because Drew
and
had his own personal exit.
yeah, Drew just
Oh,
disappeared. He just
I literally
vanished.
yeah.
was talking, and then you guys were frozen, and I was like, I don't think they're frozen.
Yeah, you were
Yup.
And then
Maria.
my computer just shut down. So I literally I kept pressing on Zoom and it shut down and then it started back up and it said your computer restarted because of a problem. And I thought,
Problem.
cool, thank you.
Yeah,
But
so
no, I'm loving I'm shocked that Maria's number one is the ballad. But
Right?
here we are.
Here we
I know.
are.
Well, I told her that we thought Jigsaw was gonna be in her top three.
Yeah, I love that you love astronomy as well. Did you have like any
Yes.
specific
I do
reason
too.
or
I love that you love astronomy.
Yeah, I liked the structure of it. Like this was a
yeah,
moment where I thought like the lyrics kind of alluding to like space and astronomy were like very cool.
yeah.
And yeah, I just like the spacey quality that it had. And yeah, it was just like one of the standouts for
Wait,
me. Like
Yeah.
did you say spacey quality?
Yeah.
I heard space equality. I
space
was like,
equality.
what the fuck is space equality?
Oh my God, that's
Are
crazy.
you like in Space Force? Is Space
No,
Well,
Force still a thing?
that song, yeah, I think so. Oh,
That's so embarrassing. Imagine if you were in the military and you say that you're in Space Force.
that's what I would do. Isn't that
Girl,
where you like pretend to be an astronaut or?
pretend.
I mean, it's made up. It's a made up
Right.
branch of the
But
military.
astronomy, that shit's real.
Yeah, well, space equality.
Space
Astronomy I
equ
love because it feels like his first love, like his first heartbreak.
Yeah, because you were saying earlier that you think that's like the heart that's like so Super 8.
Yeah.
It's
I
the most
mean,
Super 8.
yours is obviously the thesis, but like, yeah. Okay,
So
wait, so yours was footnote, what else?
yeah, and I don't worry, I got the Pride and Prejudice out of the way.
Oh, okay, great, because I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, well, yeah,
convenient.
because Drew doesn't care about the English language and how words are pronounced, apparently.
You know, I don't, so. Okay,
Wait,
cool.
but that actually seems like something you would care about because you always have the most random shit that you hate on.
Wait, yeah, yeah, that's true. Did you guys feel so much less pressure that I was out of the room when you were saying your top threes? That I
Girl,
wasn't
well,
gonna
no,
scream at
I
you?
wish you would have disappeared in me. You would. I wish you would have disappeared during the me's. That's what I would have
Oh
wished.
Yeah.
yeah,
I wish you were
damn.
here for mine because you would have been gagging.
Yeah, you would have been
Well, I
gagging,
gagged. We're gagging.
and
Good,
we
good.
gagged about yours. We gagged about yours.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my number two is Jigsaw, and I was gagging about Jigsaw, and then
Exit. Right.
it's just the exit. I think the exit is like one of my favorite album closers of all time. Like the
See.
imagery of we go through this whole the imagery of him just standing at like an exit, like standing at like an exit from a freeway and like not being able to like actually get off. Like he's done all the work to move on, but he's still stuck. I think it's such a like a brutal way to end the record because he doesn't move on. There's no happy ending. He's stuck in this endless cycle. Like, he's gonna go off the exit ramp and then go back onto the entrance ramp and do the whole thing over again. Like,
You know what exit I think of when he's alluding to the exit? I think of like in an apartment complex, you know how there's like the stairs that you can take, like when there's obviously like an elevator, but like the stairs that are all like cement. Like I picture
yeah.
him like leaving an apartment and then like shutting the door in
Oh,
the thing of
funny.
cement.
Oh no, I see him on like a deserted highway. Like
Oh, that's good too.
like in like kind of the middle of the night and like
Where
cars are
do you
passing
see him?
by. Yeah, what do you see?
Um,
She's like emergency exit bus.
I don't, exit.
You don't see
Okay.
an exit. That's okay. Wait, should I do mine now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. My number three is footnote. Please
gag.
don't forget me. Number two, yours, which I do have a qualm with Mr. Conan because he made that song a single and then didn't sing it live. I'm sure because of the emotional content, but I wanted that bridge live.
It's 15 dozen roses. Like it's
Yeah.
15 dozen roses.
And then my number one of the greatest songs of all time, The Exit.
It's the smash it.
I
Like
mean,
it's
I genuinely do think if I had to make a list of like my top 10 songs of all time, it'd probably be on there.
I'm
That's
so
huge.
sorry, Drew. Look at me in the eye through the Zoom. Feels like we had matching wounds.
But mine's still black and blue, and yours is perfectly fine. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Feels like we buried alive something that never died.
I just want to see Conan like reading it from his notes app to like Dan and him going like, oh, well, okay.
Oh, he had to have been gagging himself. He had to have been writing that thing going, just gagging.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
okay,
Utensils.
utensil time.
Okay. Drew Fork. Shock
Well,
10.
no. Oh, yeah, Drew Fork does go first. Sorry. I forgot the order. You're 10. Okay.
Screaming Maria Spoon.
Um, I'm kind of nervous.
You're about to tank.
I don't even want to say anything. Like,
well, that's
I'm
part of
just,
the show.
I know, I'm just so nervous because I'm like, you guys get that this isn't like my, like,
We get it, girl.
We get it.
Well, I
Levi
know
gets it more than I do.
I get it. Yeah, I can't speak for him. The
yeah.
logic leaves his brain during the part of this episode. Maria
Um,
looks like how she looked before she said that Florida was her least favorite song
Yeah.
on your term. You honestly kind of look more scared.
I am, I didn't know how much
I
to
don't
give
think
you
Maria
guys.
thought we gagged so hard for this.
Yeah, I
I
don't
didn't
think she knew that we
know,
were gagging so
I didn't
much.
know you guys were gagging so hard. I mean, no, I'll just be transparent. That is going to change my score because I was going to give it something lower, but I don't want to disappoint you guys.
Maria, I want you to find. I
Maria,
believe in.
now you have to go back down because
No,
why you said that.
I believe in truth. Like I want you to do truthful. I'm not here. It's not about us. You are the spoon. The spoon needs to be the spoon that it wants to be.
You're right. You're
So
right.
just say it.
Well, wait, can I? Um,
Maria, what are you doing?
oh, sorry, I'm just freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm gonna say for me, For me, 7.9.
That's like a good score. Why were you
Okay.
thinking
I
Girl,
outside
was
of
it's
thinking
that?
not
of
that
like,
good. That's a C plus.
Drew, it's what you gave Art Pop, so let's clock that.
Okay.
clock it. Well, shout out to you guys and for the Pop Girlies listeners for enduring my little panic attack for a moment. But there we go.
Is it
There's my
love
score.
or a panic attack?
No, I think that is a perfectly respectable answer, Miss
Thank
Maria.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
And Drew is not
And I
saying it.
nod.
And I think Drew just blocked me, so he just lost my number and blocked me on everything. Drew,
Honestly,
Levi,
though, Drew seemed madder about the Teenage Dream score, which was significantly higher.
you're so mad.
Drew
You're
was,
I
so
don't remember
mad.
that.
oh yeah, I'm sure you don't. Red Fury probably took over your brain. I literally thought you were about to like go on a tangent of rampage of hatred.
No.
Should we remind the listeners what I gave it and what Levi gave? Well, what all of I guess what all of us gave it.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think I want to relive that.
okay.
What did I give it? I
You gave
gave
it an
it
8.5.
8.5.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's
not
so
that
good.
bad.
Yeah, I know. Yes, Drew, go back and listen to that episode. You were so mad.
You're like, all right, well, it's not a 10, so that was an awful score you just gave
Well,
it.
that's for Katie.
Yeah.
Okay, Levi.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Woo!
Yes.
Okay, so let me just get our average real quick up in here. Our average for Super 8 is a 9.13.
That's good. Okay, I'm content with that.
Yay!
Cool.
Super ache.
Okay, Super 8, the Super 8 of us. Super 8 of us.
So there's obviously not a title track, but if there was a song on the album that was the title track, would it be yours?
Hmm. I No, because I don't like it being called yours. I don't think.
Ooh, a good title track name would be like Disaster.
Super ache
I
is just that girl, though.
I think I
Yeah.
would do. I think I would do people watching. I think I would do people
Ooh.
watching because
Or
to me,
Jigsaw.
so much of the album to me is about like because he's not actually experiencing this. Like he is experiencing it, but he's also not because like this wasn't a real relationship, and
Ooh, yeah.
so much about this album to me is about like him yearning for something that's actually real and like him hating himself for feeling so upset about something that wasn't actually real to begin with. Because he's just a
Oh,
footnote. He's a side character. He's people
yeah.
watching.
Oh, that's a good.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, if we have nothing else to super ache
No.
about, so we have a special treat for the pop girlies. We are deviating from the linear Maria Drew Levi, and you're about to get the biographer 2 weeks in a row because we are doing a double feature led by yours truly, Levi Knife. And we looked at the stats for the episodes. We see what the people are downloading. We see what gets listened to. And I have to say it, our second most listened to episode is Ray of Light. The people yearn for Madonna. The people yearn for the Queen of Pop, and we're here to deliver. So we are doing a Madonna double feature. We are educating the masses, and we are practicing religion. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at two of her most important records. They came out in succession. So we are going to be starting with Like a Prayer, which was her fourth studio album, and that represented such a huge moment in her career, a turning point in so many ways. And then the following week, we will be doing Erotica, which was the follow up to Like a Prayer, her fifth studio album, and another album that had such an insane impact on her career and the way that music and female pop stars and musicians are like today. I mean, it's such an influential record, and both of these records are super influential. I'm so excited to talk about them. These are the oldest records that we have talked about so far. Like a Prayer came out in 1989. So I'm really, really excited. These are two albums I love a lot, and I'm excited for Pop Girlies to listen to them. So yeah, join me
Yay.
next week.
I'm
Yay.
so excited. I'm so excited for two back-to-back weeks of Professor Levi.
I know,
I
I'm
can't wait.
excited.
Get ready, girl. Pop quiz. No,
Pop Girlies,
um,
pop quiz.
Pop Girlies quiz. We could
We
do a
should put
Kahoot.
we should we should put polls on the Instagram story and it's like, well, what year did Like a Prayer come out? And it's like actual trivia.
Silence.
For
All
me,
right,
no, I like the idea, but the way that you said it was just funny. It was funny.
guys. Whatever.
No. So I think the Pop Girlies are delirious now and we need to shut
Yeah.
down shop. So
I'm gonna go cause a disaster.
ugh, I'm gonna I'm gonna go to the exit.
I'm gonna go people
We're
watching.
looking at the checklist now.
Yeah. The second this album, the second this episode's over, she's blocking the album on
Blocking
Spotify.
Conan. Okay. Bye,
Bye.
Shanti.
Bye.